Hi everyone, my name is Paula Phillips, also known as JournalArtista, and I'm so excited to be here with you today to share some wonderful art journaling background techniques, focusing on multiple layers that will add depth, visual interest, and just some wonderful fun stuff. So let's get right to it. In this first chapter, I'm going to go over a bunch of supplies that will take you from basic art journal backgrounds to something that's beyond complex. And what's great about these supplies I'm going to show you is that they all work together in multiple ways to create numerous amount of backgrounds. So starting off, gesso is the absolute must. I could not art journal without it. Golden is what I prefer. It's a very smooth texture. So I like to layer a lot of techniques, as you'll see a little bit later on, and the smoothness of golden is perfect for those type of things. A lot of people ask me about glue. Different glues will do different things, and different artists prefer different ones. Number one, Scotch quick dry adhesive. It absolutely has not failed me yet for attaching collage papers or your top layers, and it's very quick. It's got a nice little pointed tip, so you don't have to worry about brushes. But for some layers, if you're going to collage an entire thing, say you want tissue paper or something like that, Collage is absolutely what you want to go with. You can use gel medium or that type of thing, but this can be a sealer, it could be used as a glue, and it's very inexpensive, shall we say, as well. And speaking of inexpensive, nothing better than a good old glue stick. I love to use glue sticks. You'll see when we start that if it's my first layer and I know there's going to be lots of things on top, there's nothing wrong with using a cheap glue stick. So after glues, it's a little bit about acrylic paint. A lot of people are afraid of artist-grade acrylic paint. And on the other hand, a lot of people are afraid of craft acrylic paints. I like to use all of the different, whether we have artist, craft, or student-grade acrylics in my art journal. So a couple of my favorites, obviously golden heavy body acrylics, so smooth, the pigment, and I love how they have that little strip so you know how translucent it is. Fluid acrylics, for me, although you can make your own, I love to buy the fluid acrylics the way they are, because I know the exact color that I'm gonna get out of the bottle. They are the same type of pigment that are in the golden heavy body, but they are a little bit more translucent and easier to work with. And last but not least, Liquitex Basics, a little bit cheaper than your goldens and a little bit less pigment, but mixed together, all of these paints really work well. After paints, there's some really fun things. These are my two favorite supplies. I recommend these all the time. These are Portfolio water-soluble oil pastels. They are actually made by Crayola, surprise, surprise, but they are wonderful. You may think, oil pastels, how are oil pastels water-soluble? Oil and water don't mix. I cannot wait to show you how to incorporate these in your backgrounds and on your final layers to make something so rich and wonderful. They are so creamy and very, very inexpensive. This is about $10, so you cannot beat that. You get 24 colors. This is a new product on the market, Derwent Inktense blocks. Now, a lot of you guys may be familiar with the Derwent Inktense pencils, but they've now come out with these really fun blocks. Same product that is in the Inktense pencils, the water-soluble, but now they're in a block, so there's no wood. They are so fun to be able to use directly out of the tin like this, or onto your paper like we will be doing shortly. There are a lot of mists on the market. It's quite popular these days, and I absolutely understand why they are so wonderful and so easy to use in your art journaling. This is a company called Lindy's Stamp Gang, and I have tried many sprays and absolutely love this one. They have different type of products. Some of them are just your mica mists, which are called Starburst stains, and then they have this wonderful thing called Moonshadow Mist, which is actually walnut ink with the mica powder in it. They don't clog. They are absolutely wonderful. And the best part of them, about them, is that they're shipped with no liquid, so really cheap, but so fun, and they come in many colors. They also make a product called Starburst Stains, and the Starburst Stains have a different top. It has a fuzzy looking kind of top, which is wonderful to use. So we'll be using a lot of those. And speaking of stains, Ranger came out with some wonderful new stains from the Tim Holtz Distress line. You may be familiar with the ink pads, and now instead of direct to paper with your ink pad, and now you can have a stain right out of the bottle, just like a bingo dabber. They are absolutely wonderful. Also from the Tim Holtz line, these are alcohol inks and the alcohol inked tool. So multiple different colors, and there's also the alcohol blending solution that we will be using as well. A lot of these products made for stampers, but absolutely wonderful to use in your art journaling. A lot of people ask me what my favorite ink pad is, and bar none, it's the Archival Jet Black from Ranger. This is a permanent ink pad that will not run. It is not solvent, but it is waterproof, which means it will go on top of any layer you have already put down, and once heat set, it will not smudge with other paint layers going on top. I also love stamping. I have a few hand-carved stamps here. I use them in my layering of backgrounds to create more visual texture and interest. And a lot of the times my background stamps are items. Rather than fine detail, I like to use a lot of harsh lines, shall we say, bold images so that it pops out under paint layers. Secondly, we're going to be using some really nondescript, these happen to be Stampin' Up, but nondescript little background stamps that are very much just to make your collage and your page cohesive in the end. It looks like somebody splattered paint on. Of course, you could splatter paint if you would like. My favorite art journaling pens. I get this question a lot. You guys watching are going to have a laugh because the Bic ballpoint pen is absolutely my favorite pen. I like my art to be the focus of my art journal, yet I still write in my art journal, love to write in my art journal, and a Bic pen is a great way. It blends into the background, but at the same time, your writing is still legible. I will also be using this in a technique to create some texture a little bit later on. And then the Prismacolor Premier pens, I absolutely love these. I have not had any problems with them writing over any type of paint either. And then we have basic water brush, very important. You can blend any of these mists and stains. We'll be using that a little bit later. And lastly, a few finishing touches, some packing tape and tissue tape, as well as some texture images and a whole bunch of handmade paper. I love to make hand-decorated pattern paper with leftover paints and leftover things that I'm doing normally in my art journal. Oh, and I forgot about the most important part, lots of stencils. I love Crafters Workshop. As you can see, they're well used and abused, but at the same time, I could take water right now and create something fun with it. So I look forward to using all of these supplies with you, combine them together to create some wonderful backgrounds. So join me in the next chapter where we will start with some basic techniques.